Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome back to the student stage. Every other Friday, we do this. We love it. We get to talk to you guys. It's a great time. You guys get to hear from the community. This week, I am excited, have been excited to bring our boy Traderxkira, otherwise known as Kira, onto the stage. He's been in the premium community for a pretty long time now. He's actually a long time member. So we've got to see him progress through his journey for quite some time now, close to half a year at this point, honestly. Very valued member of the community. He's another person just posting constant, just constantly consistent information in the community, sharing his journey with everybody. Just a really great overall member in our community, somebody that has been recognized and I believe has been around in the free Ash Capital community for quite some time, much longer than the premium group, a very long time. And we're very happy to have him on here. He's going to share his journey with us. He's going to share some of his experience with us. He doesn't have anything too crazy. Like last week we had Phoenix's Notion, which was mind-blowingly phenomenal. Shout out to her. This week it's going to be just a very relaxed conversation with Kira. He's going to, like I said, share his experience with the premium group and just his experience as a trader, which I did get a little insight into that previously when I had talked to him. And he just has such a great story. So again, that's just another reason why I'm excited to bring him on here to talk to you guys. So without further ado, we're gonna get him on, and he's gonna talk to you guys. So Kira, are you there? You can hear me?
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
Good. I'm glad to have you. So like I said, I'm gonna just have you give the audience a little bit of a background on where you came from in terms of your trading journey, how you got into this, what was your process, how long have you been doing it, as well as like where you're at right now, just an A to Z type of synopsis of your trading journey.
Sounds good, man. And thank you so much for having me. I'm honestly just humbled that you guys even asked me, to be honest with you.
Of course.
I've literally just been, in hockey we say, keeping my head down and keeping my stick on the ice, basically, just focusing on, the small steps. So once again, just thank you to yourself and to Matt and everybody in that community. Everyone's so awesome. So in terms of, I guess, my history with trading, I believe it would have been about 2017. My wife had quit her job, and we were just relying on my income with my full-time job, and just trying to find ways to make more money, basically, just like probably anybody else is. And trading kind of came up. Investing seems like the most logical thing. So my introduction was into like pot stocks because I was fundamentally trying to find something, intelligent to kind of get into and to, get into something early. And in Canada, they were going to be legalizing cannabis towards, I think it was coming probably like later in 2017, or it was going to happen. So I kind of started studying that and fundamentally got into investing through pot stocks. And then, you invest and you go back to work. And, periodically I'd kind of check my bank app and, the trading app and see what's going on. So that was my first taste of, seeing price going up and down and seeing, a plus sign in my account. I'm like, oh, wow, made X amount of money. And then, a month or two later, I check again and it's like, oh, I'm down again now. So kind of experiencing those highs and lows, that was like my first real taste of what, we have when we trade, right? Like we experience these crazy emotions, these swings. Towards later end of that year, I think I ended up selling at the top, which was kind of fluky to me, but it was around Christmas time. So I ended up selling the top, and I made some money, paid off some bills. I was like, wow, this is actually, I thought I was a genius. I was like, this is pretty
The
easy.
Euphoria.
Yeah, I was like, I just bought low and sold high. Like this is so cool. And of course, Bitcoin and crypto and altcoins were starting to go crazy that year as well. So I kind of got into Bitcoin and some other altcoins towards the middle part of 2017 because I was trying to research and do stuff, and I kept seeing Bitcoin and the price going higher and higher and higher. So back then, it was impossible to try to even get into crypto, especially in Canada. There was no real easy gateway to get
Hmm.
in. So like we're talking like money orders. Like you got to go to your bank, you got to take out like 5, 6 figures worth of money, and you're taking a money order and sending it to some random place, and the bank's like questioning me like, what are you doing? Like, do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, yeah, 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 I know what I'm doing. So because they obviously don't want you to take money out of their system, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they can't leverage it.
Yeah.
So anyways, it took money out, sent the money order, and I'm talking like that money was gone for like at least what felt like a month. Like not seeing that money and not knowing if I had lost it all. It was definitely the Wild Wild West back then. Anyways, money ended up did showing up in my account. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So I had bought into crypto, and then the euphoria and all that, like that was next level, seeing how fast price was going up because every time I looked at my app, I was like, wow, this thing is just going higher and higher and higher. So that euphoria again, right? The emotions,
Hmm.
um, seeing all that kind of play out and not knowing what I'm doing, right? Because I'm thinking I'm a genius, but not really understanding all this other stuff that's a part of it that, as a trader, you start to realize way later. So anyways, crypto ends up crashing. I'm kind of like thinking, oh, this thing is going to go higher because everyone else is saying it's going to go higher, right? People who you think are smart, but in hindsight, you realize these are just strangers that you're taking crazy advice from
Right. Yeah.
on the
You're
internet,
taking their
right?
word. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this dude just looks like an anime picture, right? Like, why am I listening to this person, right? So, yeah, 2018 sucked because everything kind of dropped like 95%. So, like, experiencing seeing a 95% drop in the assets I was holding, that was a huge,
Yeah. Not fun.
yeah, like just not cool. You know, I was reading about stuff with people, like committing suicide. Like it was bad, man,
Yeah.
because like that's terrible, right? I ended up just holding, and I'm like, I can't lose unless I sell. So I'm like, I'm just gonna hold on because what's the worst thing that happens, right? Like I'm already down. So
Right.
thankfully, all that happened. Took a step away from crypto and just kind of focused back on my job. And I would say probably around 2019, the market's kind of ticking back up again. I'm noticing I'm not down 95% anymore. I'm down like 50%. I was like, huh. So that's when I started to first learn about TA. I was like, I should learn about, more about that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And, the basics, trend lines, support and resistance, fibs, RSI, MACD, moving averages, and, chart patterns. You're basically going through all those like retail concepts. And I was thinking, okay, I'm putting all this together. I'm theoretically like I know what I'm doing, but the problem I found was like applying it on a chart and having it make sense, like because I didn't understand back then about how to treat it like a business, right? Like
Right.
you'd see professional traders and how they're just showing you successes and seeing stuff on Twitter, and it's just like win after win, and you're like, how the hell are they doing that? Like every time I would buy a coin that would break out of a trend line, it would it would go the other way, and I'm like, hold on, it broke out of a trend line. It's supposed to go out, right? Never happened for me. So, and I was only trading crypto at that point. I was too intimidated to even look at Forex, or I don't even know you could trade futures, to be honest with you, at that point.
Right. You're sticking with what you
Um,
knew at the time.
yeah, so crypto ended up pumping again in 2021. I made some good moves, you know, made some good lateral moves, and I was now back in the green, like well into the green. I was like, wow, okay. So I took some profit off the table before everything literally dropped because I'm like,
Right.
I
You
don't
were
want to
not
be.
about to go back down all over again.
Yeah, yeah. So thankfully that happened. And then I spent the entire bear market really trying to learn how to like properly trade, and like I really put my head down and just started studying and trying to find, mentors and private groups because, that's what you do, right? And I can't tell you, I went through group after group, and, most of them are just sharing signals. And if you don't understand how they got to that point, like why they're taking the trade, you're not really learning how to fish, right? You're just at the mercy of someone else
Right.
and what they're doing. And if they win, they win. Then you win. But if they lose the trade, they don't even tell you they're losing the trade, but you've lost the trade because your stop loss is hit, and
Yep.
you don't know why. So that was starting to happen to me. Um, so I really tried to figure out how to trade. And I was trying to study off some people who I thought were pretty successful. And even though they are successful, the methodology and how they're getting from A to Z was not there for me. Like I couldn't put it together, and I would end up losing money, like month over month. So I would have some winning trades, and things would kind of make sense. But ultimately, I was like losing money month over month. So um, at that point, you know, I'm like, I got to find another way of doing this.
Right.
Like this isn't working. Like crypto's pissing me off. Like it's really pissing me off. Like it's playing on my nerves because every time I would follow some sort of logical reason of where to put your stop loss, or I'm going to enter here because there's a morning star pattern or an evening like things like that. It's support or resistance, and then my stop loss gets hit. I'm like, shit, this isn't working. So I took a big step back because I was losing money. And I think at that point when I kind of came back, I was like, I'm going to look into Forex. I think I'm ready to look into Forex because I keep hearing it's cleaner and it's respecting, specific levels.
Mm-hmm.
And with crypto, there's a lot of manipulation, and they
Oh,
wick you out
absolutely. Yeah.
like massively. So towards, I would probably say Q4 of 2023 is when I got into Forex. So it wasn't really that long ago. And I started to try to trade Forex, and started, learning more about how the assets, work in relationship with one another. Like that was new to me. The time zones, like these kill zones, and then that obviously leads to like ICT because there was so much buzz back then about ICT and
Yep.
these concepts, and it was funny because like there's almost like an academic like snobbery like about ICT, which I didn't understand, but it's like people would like shit on you for being a trendline trader. It's like, oh, that's so basic, right? Like we got ICT concepts with, and then there was all that terminology, and I was like, what the hell is all this stuff? FVG, Sibbies and Busies. I was like, what is all this stuff, man? It makes no sense to me. I was like, this seems so stupid. Um, and then I tried to listen to that guy talk, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't put it together. Like there's just so much noise in the message.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I think people started to like kind of streamline the message.
Right.
And I think this was really helpful for me because I started watching some videos on people who streamlined the 2022 mentorship. And that mentorship was amazing because it utilizes a liquidity sweep. Um, you have that market maker model kind of intertwined in there. You have a break of structure. You have a breaker, um, and you have those imbalances. And so, like, I started to really understand how price was moving and why it was moving like that. But I wasn't using time frame analysis, and there was a lot of other pieces kind of missing to putting it all together, right?
Right.
So I started to kind of trade the 1 minute chart on NQ, and I was having some success with it. But anytime I would kind of look back and try to review like why I lost a trade, like I couldn't understand why I lost a trade. Like it was just like, oh well, that's luck of the draw, that's price. I don't
Right.
know. Um, and then I kind of found Ash in probably early 2024. Um, and that's when I was like kind of trying to understand like what his message was all about. So like there was a PDF document that he did with someone else. I think the person's name is Tyler, maybe. But that PDF was like really opened my eyes. Like that PDF, I highly suggest if anyone is trying to figure what Ash is up to here with the strategy, like start at that PDF. Because I really just I had that thing on my phone, like I was just reading it nonstop. Anywhere I went, anytime I had free time, I was always reading it. And then I started to dive into the YouTube videos, the public stuff, and the public videos. Um, he's got a playlist there, and that playlist blew my mind because for the first time in all these years of trading, there is a coherent approach to learning a strategy from A to Z, and it's not complicated. It's extremely easy, if you have some sort of previous knowledge, I think, like with, some of the things I was talking about earlier. But you kind of have to unlearn things too, because if you're going to be taught by somebody, then, you can't have a bias towards them. You want to listen to them, with clarity and no judgment and just really take in what they're saying. So I was really listening to Matt and putting it together. And I must have watched all those videos over and over and over again. So it's kind of obsessive, but I was just committed, I would say. I was like, there's something here. It's piggybacking a bit off that 2022 model, which I'm already familiar with. So I just started to really listen to his messages, and even so that my wife even would hear his voice and go, "Oh, is that so and so?" Like 'cause she started to put together who I'm listening to. This guy, this mystery guy. It's like, who's that? So, and I'm like, oh, this guy's goated. This guy's the real deal. So, basically, uh, I started noticing also just the message of his approach was like he's saying the same thing every single time. Like there's no there was no change in the message or the delivery or kind of like what he was looking for. Obviously, there's some experience you got to have by studying live price, but that's something he always talks about, which was, you got to study live price is better than back testing. That's when you really start to understand, why things are happening the way they're happening. So I completely bought into this. And yeah, just like Arrow's saying, and I had loads of conversations with Arrow about this, but I also thought he was a 50-year-old guy. So I'm 42. So like I'm one of the older dudes, but like I was like, oh, here's an older guy, right? Like I can relate to this because he sounds like he's 50. And, you know, I ended up finding out he's not 50. And I was like, holy moly.
Very
This
much
dude,
not 50,
yeah,
almost
I was like,
almost half the age.
this dude is way ahead of the game. Like, wow, I was completely blown away by the professionalism and, his level of success too, right? Like, it's just, it was just really cool to see. And, I would think I'm quite humble. Like, I don't have an ego with like saying Matt is my mentor because he is younger than me. I don't look at it that way. I'm looking at it more in the sense of like, is he a good person? Is his method aligned with what I'm aligned with? And it sure was, right? So,
Yeah, once you hit a certain age, like, once you're over like 25, it doesn't, after 25, I would say,
mhm,
at that point, we're all, it's a downtrend. You know what I mean? Our bodies start giving out. Like, we're all at a certain point, unless, I mean, obviously take care of yourself, but at a certain point, like, it doesn't
for sure.
matter like age anymore. It's just about like who's trying to, go upward, who's trying to grow. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what your
Yeah.
age is, you could be, we have people in here. I believe the oldest person we ever had in the community was in somewhere in their 60s. And
Wow.
you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't matter when you're starting, especially with this. All you need is a computer, a couple some software, and you're off to the races. You're ready to go, So I
Mhm.
think that right there, you saying that is a very, very true statement. It doesn't matter like that, you're doing this at 41, or that Matt's like, very experienced and doing well at 28 or 29. And you know what I mean? Like, age does not matter in this game. It's just about who's going to do it and who's going to stick around to do it.
Exactly. Loads of lessons there. So I think it was just about kind of surrendering to the process, right? I'm a quite spiritual person, and I do try to surrender myself to looking within and kind of focusing on that present moment type thing. So um, Matt is 100% present. That was the other thing too. So I couldn't believe just the information provided on Twitter. I think he had shared one of Arrow's posts on Twitter. So that's how I met Arrow. I noticed Arrow through there, and I was like, whoa, this guy's got some crazy Canva aesthetics going on, and he's killing it with these trades. He's a student of maths. I was like, okay, I got to follow this guy. So I was like studying off this dude pretty hard, and trying to like put it together the way he's kind of put it together. And he was just starting out too. So I was like, okay, Arrow's pretty fresh into the trading thing too. So like, this is really, really cool. So I dropped him a line, and I didn't think I was going to hear back from him, but I ended up hearing back from him, and we had a conversation, and totally one of the most sincere guys I've met. And he was honest, and I believed him when I was like, should I join this premium group? Like, I don't want to get burnt again, right? Like, I really don't. And he's like,
You're
it's like
tired of
100.
jumping into the premium groups.
Yeah, man, I'm tired of it. Like, I'm like, I don't know. But he was pretty honest about it. He's like, just you can follow me. I have a thread. I was like, oh shit, you got a thread too? Okay, well, that's like two for the price of one. So, I'll take it. I'll join. So I ended up joining, and I was initially just kind of following Arrow, and obviously trying to work my way through the premium Discord, which I'll talk about in a sec. But it was really, really nice to trade alongside somebody who's just posting their thoughts, what they're seeing. This is something I never encountered before, because I find trading such a lonely game, right? Like, you're by yourself, or you're not really talking to anybody.
Yep.
Per se. And a lot of people are a little reluctant on sharing things, right? It's like they hold back. I also noticed that too. So it is a bit of a game that way. But I found with Arrow, he's just putting it all out there. And I would start having conversations with him in his channel, and that's how I really started to learn, was having that live conversation, having that live presence, and showing up, right? Now, Matt's also in there too. Obviously, it's his Discord, your guys' Discord. This is the other thing. It's like, he's in there nonstop. Like, he's up earlier than me, at least in the chat, and he's chatting with everybody. He's respecting everybody. I was really, really aligned with the way he was handling business, how he was treating everybody, how he was, relaying the theoretics behind the unicorn model. With the repetitive messaging, there was like no, there was no like gray areas, like pretty black and white.
Straightforward, yeah. Yep.
Exactly, right? So, and like I said, he's there every day. The other thing was, I didn't even realize there was like these live streams, and I have not missed a live stream since I joined. I have been on every single one of them. And I found when I first joined, I was just listening to him and watching him. I wasn't even trading. I was just like studying exactly what he's doing. And then it got to a point where I was like kind of going side by side with him. So like, I would see what he's doing and kind of match what he's doing on my chart,
right,
to kind of learn and really get better about things. And I think this is so important because, like, if this was any other profession, you'd be, an apprentice, or you'd be, being mentored by someone in an office, and they would be walking with you every single day, right? Showing you the ropes,
right,
showing you the ins and outs. This is the first premium group where I experienced that, like, truly experienced that. And, and I do work in an office setting, and I have been a supervisor in my life. So seeing that was quite relatable, and it really went a long way for me with expediting my trading journey. So obviously, he's fulfilling his side of the game, right? But I also have to fulfill my side of the game, because he's not the one taking the trades for me. I am.
yep.
So I have to put two and two together and figure this out. So basically, the Discord keeps growing, and Arrow's promoted. There's also some other people I should note too, like Jimmy and EMC, who I was also talking to and studying off of as well, and they were answering so many questions I had. So there's such a good group of, I guess we call them professors, in that premium group.
Right. Professors in the university.
Yeah, I see the marketing play there. but they're genuine people, they're good people, and they're sharing things in their life. Like it's real, right? Like it's not just some fictitious character, right? Like there's a real person here. That goes a long way for me. Like I said, because there's been a lot of trust issues in the past, and I've been burnt, and I think it was really refreshing to kind of be a part of that. So I really, really, really have taken to this group, and a part of that makes me want to also give back to the group. So at some point, I decided to create my own thread. Watching Arrow and those other guys do their thing, I was like, okay, I think I'll take a stab at this because before I was just like posting to Twitter, but I wasn't doing it for likes or retweets or follows. It's more for me to track my trades and
Right.
then kind of look
Documenting
back
your
at it.
journey. Yeah.
But I
That's
wasn't
what
doing
that's
it
what
properly.
Matt actually did originally. Way back,
Exactly.
way back. Twitter was that was his way of tracking and journaling. He would just tweet it, because
Right.
why not, right? He wasn't doing it for like clout or whatever. It was just that was how he decided to go about it.
Hmm. So that's kind of what I was doing. But I noticed that in the group, it's more than just a model, right? Like Matt's trying to show and teach everybody like how to fish, but also like work on the psychological side, work on the journaling side. The journaling side to me is probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm starting to see consistent success in my trading, like month over month. And Arrow had started 2190, which is about habit forming, and like I was all about that when he started this group. Like it's like a group thread in there. So there's more value in here than I think even people realize. They might not even understand. But even in there, it's like people are sharing their way of journaling. You can literally, you don't have to like recreate the wheel, right? A lot of times we find, we're trying to make sense of everything and then make it our own. And you don't actually have to do that. It works for some people for sure. But it doesn't have to work like that. You can just use a model that's already working. Use templates that are already working. Like everybody's sharing their Notion templates, right? Like we had Phoenix last week with that insane, um, beast of a Notion template, and that works incredibly well for her, and probably it works incredibly well for a lot of other people. She's shared that, I believe. So it's like plug and play. Arrow did the same thing. Plug and play. This is what you need. This is what you need to help make things less stressful for yourself because trading itself is stressful as it is when you're in a trade or setting up the trade. There's a lot to manage there. So it was really, really good to have that, um, have all that information already at your fingertips. So I think when we started to, everyone's kind of had to figure out what their game plan was. And, my game plan, like I said, wasn't anything different than what Arrow was doing or what Matt's doing or what most other people are probably doing. But I think it was the idea of personalizing it in the sense of, putting pen to paper type thing, like really making it personalized for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it real. And I really do believe like, your thoughts create your reality. So by me putting my intention into this, my goal was, to obviously realize this and manifest the success that I'm visualizing. And by doing that, I had that there. Now I'm held to a certain standard, right? One that I'm creating for myself. Um, and every day you show up, there's a checklist. You know, these things, like in my opinion, really, really help to keep you on track because this trading game, 10% of it is the TA. Like learning this model Matt has shown us, it's like 10% of this thing. 90% of it is you versus you. You really have to fight yourself a lot. And I know when I first started trying to properly journal, um, looking back in hindsight, like I can see the progress. I can see in my journaling why I took a trade and why I lost the trade. And it's like I can see that I just kept breaking my rules. I was just breaking rules left, right, and center, right? And it's human nature because we experience FOMO and we experience, you know, panic and we experience euphoria, right? Things I was talking about from like 2017 when I first started feeling those feelings. And those feelings can be good or bad. But I'm also documenting on my journal those feelings as well. Like, so a lot of times when I've documented a loss, guess what? I've been experiencing a feeling of FOMO, most likely. I noticed that. So I think through properly journaling, which I've learned through this group, has helped to, eliminate a lot of future losses I probably would have taken, because I'm trying not to repeat the same mistake. And one thing I didn't mention, but back in 2021, when crypto was flying, the most expensive lesson I ever learned was it cost me like 5 figures. And I watched that money go one night when crypto just decided to randomly dump.
Sheesh.
And I didn't have a stop loss. And it sounds so stupid to say, right? Like you didn't have a stop loss, but I didn't have a stop loss. And I was trading Matic. And I had a leverage trade open, and the leverage thing is not such a big deal because it's all about position size. But what happened was I was trying to escape being liquidated, and I kept putting more and more money into the trade as the price is going down to try to reduce my
Right.
like to DCA into the entry
Yeah.
and keep lowering my liquidation. But crypto is nuts because they're just like going right after you. And once the Asian market opens, I was finding that's when all the crazy stuff was starting to go down. So I kept throwing money in, money in, money in, and then I realized I was going to get liquidated, and then I got liquidated, and I froze. So I never made that same mistake ever again after that. But I'm telling you, like, losing money sucks. It doesn't matter where you are in your career. Like, it's not fun to lose money. But this leads to like that mindset piece, which we talk about in our group, right? In this group about, like losses are part of the game. And I think Matt's shown like with the 2-to-1 ratio of the trade, I never thought that was possible. Um, I would always see people trading, 5-to-1 and, gloating about 10-to-1 trades or 8-to-1 trades. And
Right.
you're
They
like,
hit their home runs. Yeah.
yeah, these are home runs. But, Matt's like two
Base
to one,
hits. Yep.
2-to-1. That is exactly a base hit. And that's a hard thing to adjust to for most people because we're all trying to make money from trading. Some of us are trying to make a living from it. Like this is it for a lot of people, um, and that leads to a lot of FOMO, panic, intense emotions. And you're like, I don't want to just hit a 2-to-1 trade. Like I need a 5-to-1 trade so I can do things. But I find that just ends up making people lose more money because that's what was happening to me. So I'm assuming that's what's happening to a lot of other people if they're continuing to trade that way. Um, and I started to just bite my lip earlier when I joined and just started doing the 2-to-1 thing. And even though I was watching price fly exponentially higher, and I was like, why didn't I just hold this trade? Um, I've slowly started to see why, because it doesn't always happen that way. And accumulating these base hits, it's turning me into like a Derek Jeter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not having to hit massive home runs like Mark McGwire or something like that, right? Like I can just hit base hits and practice good defense. That's our risk management. And Jeter's in the Hall of Fame, man. He's one of the greatest of all time. And he's like the best all around player that I've ever seen play live. And he's retired now, so I don't know how many people know who I'm talking about, but I don't know if I'm like aging myself here. Um, but I noticed through the base hits, that's when like I start seeing my stats increase, in a positive way because I'm being more successful in a disciplined way. I'm not taking unnecessary trades. I'm not forcing trades. There's a lot of time where Matt talks about just sitting on your hands and like doing nothing,
Yep.
and that's a hard thing to do. That's a really really hard thing to do because our mind is just going crazy, like with thoughts, feeding us with information like you should take a trade, you should take a trade. That's like that FOMO talking to you. And also with other groups too, it's like you might see people taking trades on a 1 minute time frame, and I didn't realize I don't have to take trades on a 1 minute time frame. So I used to take trades on a 1 minute time frame, but I started noticing it's causing me too much stress to try to set it up, right? So one thing I think Matt and some of the others and Arrow, you know, they're taking trades with different time frame alignment, like to the 5 minute chart. So I started moving to the 5 minute, and I started seeing more success that way. And I think it's trial and error, right? And for me, I was doing a lot of trial and error, um, like through a prop firm account, but I wasn't risking a lot because I'm still kind of trying to like learn a lot of stuff.
Right.
But I wanted it to be real, right? I want to use money that I am losing or winning, so it gives me that real edge. Um, so it's incredibly important that base hits happen, and the more experience I think I've had just by watching people have success with whether it's a 1 minute time frame trade or whether they're trading even outside of a time frame that I would trade in, like in terms of the session, like say it's like pre-New York, like people trade like that all the time, and there's tons of wins there. Or trading like the London session. One big thing I learned is just staying in your own lane, like
Exactly. Yep.
figuring out what works for you, um, and sticking to it. And the journaling is what taught me that. Journaling is what showed me how patient I'm being. And Matt, and he just mentioned it, but like independent thinking, like that's always been the goal for me, was to try to be independent. Like I look up to Arrow because I keep bringing him up, but like he's another mentor to me in my opinion, because I'm watching this guy continuously just raise the bar to levels I'm not even thinking about. Like, wow, okay, that's another level. So there's a lot of giants in this group. And when I joined, I could see that there's a lot of giants in this group because they're way further ahead in where they were. And I wasn't intimidated by this, but I knew that if I'm ever going to get to where I want to be, like I need to be standing with giants. Like I need to be working with these people that are going to help me get to where I want to be. And ultimately it is up to me to, hit the buy or the sell or to do all this independent stuff. But like they're right there. So many people are like right there. And I mean, there's other people too I haven't even mentioned, but like these people are like right there to help you. And to me, that goes a long way. So, big shout out to all the people that are helping everyone else in the Unicorn University, because it's a beautiful thing to take, but to also give back, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's like you said, there's too many to count, and that's why. And again, it's like we bring on those, or we're trying to. We've got what 5, 6, 7 of the student stages so far, and there are so many more people. You know what I mean, that are in the community that we want to give we want to give them credit. We want to showcase them for everybody, because, like you said, there is just so much positivity in the
Mhm.
group, and there's also, just like you said, there's so much help. And it's so I like how you said that you felt intimidated, but like you, in a way, I don't know if you said it like this, but in a way you weren't really intimidated. You were just like, oh wow, these guys are killing it, but I want to be surrounded by them, because if I'm, like you said, if I'm going to grow, I need to be surrounded by people that are going to grow or help me grow, right?
Mhm.
Now you can be surrounded by people that might be intimidating, but if those people aren't going to benefit you in any way, obviously you said it's on you, the individual. But at the end of the day, if those people that you're surrounded by are not benefiting you, right? Like they're not helping you. It's like you're just around them. Which can help, I guess, in its own way. But when you're receiving help from those people, it's game changing. Like there are so many people that are, like you said, there's so many very experienced people that are in here, and they're more than willing to help out, answer questions, like just be, because everybody enjoys being in there. Like the vibe of the community is all around positive. It's and it is hard to find that. Like you said, you were kind of hopping around from place to place looking for somewhere to go, and then
Mhm.
landed here. And then obviously, you said countless nice things about it. Um, and and I say this all the time, that's what we strive for in the community, is to make it positive and comfortable, and like we just, there's no reason for it to be like a toxic place. It's really just a place of learning and education. And we want, I don't know, we just, I love hearing the things that you say and that everybody says when they come on here about it being positive and being super helpful. And also, like how you mentioned, shout out to obviously Matt and all of our analysts. Like you mentioned Errol a number of times. You also mentioned Jimmy and you mentioned Chicken.
Yep,
All of those
PNC,
guys are
man.
fantastic. Kim Vesco's in the chat right now listening.
Yeah, I was
He's
actually
great.
gonna.
Like,
I also wanted to say with Kim Vesco, like I didn't even know. Like I knew he was in real estate, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like we got all walks of life here, professionals from various different industries in the world. But like, man, Kivesco has done something that is like a wild card because I mean that guy put something together that I mean he shared it today. He's sharing it even in the public group with the one shot one
yeah,
kill.
yep, today,
It,
exactly.
it's a separate idea than what Matt does, but um, it's absolutely mind blowing. Like especially today, how many people passed
Yeah.
accounts
I
today?
was surprised actually.
Like
Yes, today a
that was
lot of people passed today.
that was nuts. I couldn't believe it. And obviously I'm there too. Like I'm trying to hustle too, but I was like, damn, that thing hit TP like that. I was like, this is crazy, man. I it's all because of that dude.
It's
So
another
and
tool in our arsenal, It's just
yeah,
beautiful.
man. And then he sweetened the pot. He added his own indicator to help everybody out. Like that alone too, like saves so much time with the padding. With having to move it all the time, right? Like I couldn't get that piece sometimes. Like I would always have like a bit of a discrepancy on my entry because I was trying to move things right at the last second, right? Because we know price just fluctuates
Right. It
pretty
does
well.
what it wants. Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, like I said, Kim Vesco's another dude in there that man, that guy has elevated the premium group. And like these are wild cards, right? Like usually when you join a premium group, you're going there because of the mentor that's there, but there's so much more magic in there. And there's more people coming through. Like Phoenix is
Yeah.
another person who wasn't there before, and then, or maybe she was, but she didn't speak up. But then all of a sudden, here's Phoenix and some more game-changing things she's bringing to the table. And I see other people coming up too. Like is really cool. And this is what I was saying. Like I'm standing next to giants. Like there's giants here now, and there's going to be future giants. And I don't know who's coming through next and what they'll bring to the table. But one thing I know for sure is like the strategy is still the same. It's like rounding out. A lot of these people are like helping you round out the trader you want to become. And I do talk a lot about like the personal growth side of things because you do got to experience a lot of the good and the bad with trading. Like you need to be able to not be shaken when you take a loss. So like when I took a 5-figure loss with crypto with that stop loss, like I'll always remember that feeling.
Yeah. A very
And
large business expense right there.
that was insane. Like that's like the amount of money I lost that one day is like what people make in a year if they're lucky. And I don't wish that on anybody. But so like when I take a loss now and my risk is managed and maybe I'm losing 0.5% or 1% of my portfolio, like I always think back to when I lost 5 figures and it's like it puts it into perspective, right? So like that's that experience I think you have to put yourself through. Like there's no rush to this. And I learned that through Arrow. Arrow was saying how I think when I first met him, he said he was just I think he was demo trading or paper trading for many, many months. And then he just started to flip the switch and go with live trading. And, this is probably after he put a lot of, you know, data together to prove profitability. That really changed my perspective too, with like trying not to be, greedy about things and not try to rush things. Cause like if I can prove to myself, or if anyone can prove to themselves month over month that they're profitable doing, a specific routine or following specific rules to your game plan, um, it's after that point you start to scale because you now have a strategy in place, you have your game plan in place, you have your mindset in place, you might have your community in place, right? Like people to help you, which I feel like I've uh, grown quite accustomed to now being in this group. Like even just meeting other people who you never met before, and they're trading. Like I'll shout out Storm Trades. Storm Trades is another dude. Like this guy
He's
opened up
great.
my
Yeah.
eyes to silver. I was following his charts because I was like pretty impressed with his charting, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to learn here, right? So this is another example, but like he was trading silver and just showing off how well it was respecting the unicorn model, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to get into silver, right? Like maybe I need to do this because like I'm already trading NQ, I'm already trading ES, and I added CL to my mix. I got rid of the euro and the pound, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on these three. But then I started seeing him rock silver, and I had a terrible, terrible streak with gold. Gold has been like my arch nemesis, my kryptonite in crypto, like or in trading. So I like got rid of it. I was like, if I'm losing a lot with that, I should just stop trading it.
I
But
mean,
because it's still
that's a good idea. That's very
it
true.
was,
If
it
yeah,
was, it was. But I realized what I was doing wrong, right? Like I'm breaking rules. That's why I was losing those trades. It had nothing to do with gold itself. It was I was breaking my rules, breaking the strategy rules. Um, I brought back silver and gold into the mix for myself, and um, shout out to him, man, because like that guy put that on my radar. And like we chat a lot in the CL group, and there's a bunch of other people now showing up. Like it's not just NQ and ES. Like there's a growing group of us trading CL,
yeah, the CL group has been
and
popping off recently.
yeah, we call it the CL gang, and a lot of people are successful, man, in there. It's really nice to see, and we're all like working together, just like anyone's working together in the other groups. I'm just trying to showcase that there is more there, and silver is another one, man. Silver is another one people might be sleeping on, but like today we won. We had a good trade win on gold and silver today, and it's NFP day, right? So most people aren't trading today, and I think this is leading to that independent thinking component, right? Like I know Matt and Arrow and a lot of other people don't trade NFP week for X, Y, and Z reason. Um, my risk tolerance is a little higher, and it's not that I'm going to force a trade, but I noticed like GC and SI weren't impacted by the NFP news like how NQ was or ES was, right? Um, and if the trading plan fits and all the boxes check, like that's where it's up to the trader to make that decision for themselves. And I decided to take a swing. It was my first trade of the month. I haven't traded in 9 days. Like that was another thing I was gonna say too, right? Like how many people can just sit on their hands and not trade
Yeah,
in
for a
nine
week and a
days?
half. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I watched a video from one of our other guys in our group, the trading yogi, Rishi. He had a video on YouTube and he said the same thing. I couldn't believe it. But shout out to that guy, man. He's awesome because he was saying like he took some time off and didn't trade. And then he came back and he's like stacked some huge wins. Goes to show like, the discipline and the respect you have for yourself and the respect you have for your game plan is what's going to help you, you know, down the road with being successful. So
Yeah,
I've really
hundred
bought
percent.
into this message, man. I really bought into this message and like surrendered myself to the process because it's the process amongst, above anything else.
Yeah,
The
and
monetary side of it is just it's just a number. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
it's just a number. Sorry to cut you off, man.
No, you're good. I was just gonna chime in. I was gonna say, to your point of saying, obviously independent thinking, the reoccurring topic. Um, the thing like you had mentioned, you traded this week or today. You said right? Yeah, you traded today,
Yeah, it's today. First trade
and
in 9 days. Yeah.
how and you said it perfectly. You were like, obviously, a large number of people do not trade NFP week, or at least Wednesday through Friday. Um, and you said, I have a higher risk tolerance. And you mentioned, I saw the opportunity. You didn't force anything. You just saw it, and then you determined I'm going to take this opportunity. And I do want to touch on that a little bit because you said it perfectly. And there's that's like one of the reoccurring things that come up constantly in this community is like, why don't we trade NFP week? Or like, I mean, it's forever. It's been like a conversation forever. And it obviously this is an educational server or community, I should say. So Matt tries to emphasize like, don't trade NFP week because we get so many new people. Like there's just new people every day. There's people from all walks of life, all different types of experience. So it's better for him to just say flat out, like, do not, well, he says, I do not trade NFP week. And he always says, I highly suggest that if you're new or you have a lower risk tolerance or whatever, you should not trade NFP week. I mean, there's a couple, I'm not going to go on the list or whatever, but just for using this as the example, do not trade NFP week. And he emphasizes this. But at the end of the day, he even says this too, at the end of the day, it's up to the individual to decide. So what he's saying when he's saying do not trade, or at least he does not trade NFP week, and he sticks to it. He doesn't do Monday through Wednesday NFP because the volatility, you know what I mean? It's so volatile that you do not want to put yourself at that risk and even, or at the mercy of the market. And at that, even at Matt's, level, if you will, like where he's at right now, he still sticks with not trading those days because he's disciplined enough. And he's like, this is what works for me. And I'm going to stick with this. And I'm going to recommend you guys do this too. But at the end of the day, everybody is an independent thinker and people are going to take whatever trades they want. So it's just one of those things where, and that's why I'm bringing this up, because you said it so perfectly, where you honored the fact, like, yes, I understand that like a lot of people in the community do not trade these days because it's volatile, and you know what I mean, of all the reasons as to why you should not trade it. But you knew I'm seeing something here. It's checking all the boxes, and I have my risk tolerance is at this. I'm gonna get in this because I'm willing to do this, and you weren't gonna, whether you won or lost, you weren't gonna be like, oh, like you know what I mean, like you were very in control of that decision. It wasn't some impulsive decision. You weren't forcing yourself upon the market because you had a game plan. You made an independent decision on trading what you wanted to trade. And you said you came on top. So at the end of the day, you won, right? At the end, so it all worked out. And I wanted to bring attention to that because that was worded so perfectly.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's so two other things to talk about too, about something like about this specifically. So the first thing is like I know the non-trading, or the NFP protocol as we call it, you not entering a trade, but I think originally I didn't understand like why are you not trading the NFP week. Then I started realizing, okay, because I've been through many NFPs now with you guys, and like I started to see exactly what Matt's talking about, man. Like if you go to an hourly chart for NQ and ES from like Wednesday, it's like untradeable. Like the conditions are terrible to trade. But you're only going to know that if you show up every day,
Right.
and then you see the difference and the contrast between how NQ or ES trade on any other red folder event or any other non-red folder event day versus NFP. You can see the differences, and that experience then puts together a perspective on whether or on what A plus probability day looks like versus one that's not, right? So like it was very easy to identify today after a lot of time being in the market to say that, yeah, this is clearly terrible conditions to take these trades anyways. Forget even about NFP. I wouldn't have taken I wouldn't have been forcing a trade anyways. It's just playing these extreme ranges, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thing. And then the second thing is I find that like when it comes to trading during NFP week and not trading it. So if you take the trade, that's fine. Like I took that risk, right? That's fine. Like I already understood the risk I took before I took the trade, and I follow my rules. So if I were to take the loss, I know it would have been a good loss because I checked every box. So I was okay with what was going to happen. But the other side to this is not trading it. And Matt only takes 2 trades a week. He always talks about this. So, right. So he won earlier this week, and I think that trade was on the 1 minute chart. So I watched him take that, and I still to this day get some FOMO every time I see him take trades on the 1 minute because I'm like, shit, I missed out, man. But like, I know better now to control those things and like the emotions. And it's like, no, I don't trade the 1 minute. I trade the 5 minute. And like my setup wasn't there. So it is what it is. But what I'm getting at is I did not understand the prop firm thing for a long time. I'm new to the prop firm thing. And when I started to understand why you're only taking 2 trades a week is if you have a prop firm account and then you're starting to scale and you're compounding, this isn't really talked about a lot, I think, because it's not as maybe sexy to talk about, but this is the holy grail. And I know Matt has actually said this is the holy grail, but like it truly is because you can literally compound wins or compound these accounts and Kinvesco hooked us up with an insane strategy to expedite. Like, man, things are like gift wrapped. Like today, so many people passed accounts, and so many people, secured more than one account, right? Like,
I think between the two servers, it was like upwards of 40 people, like, or
yeah,
at least that acknowledged like the post of Matt
right,
asking who had passed
right.
their challenges.
So like, if you have
Yeah, over
if you had
50.
picked up,
Sorry to cut you.
yeah,
Over 50. That's what
yeah,
Kim Vesco just said.
over right on, man. Like that's crazy. That's a beautiful stat to see. Like everyone's winning. And it gives confidence to other people who are on the fence. Like, put in the time. Like you can also win. Um, but if you were to compound like 5 250 or 4 250K accounts, one shot, one kill today, like you now have $1 million in funding, right? And why do you need to take more than 1 or 2 trades a day? Especially if you're scaling it, right? Like if you're trading like 1% on each of those accounts per trade and you win, like that's a lot of money to make in a week. Um, so to me, like that is the secret sauce as it was put in the chat there by Errol. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, again, there's so you said this earlier, and I believe you had even mentioned this previously when we had spoken before. There are so many things that are just that are everybody's very unaware of that are in the premium server, like because we're trying to continue to add value, as Matt always says. Um, there's like, I mean, Kim Vesco's one shot, one kill is obviously, I mean, it's come up multiple times in the conversation. Just incredible, absolutely incredible. We have all of the personal threads, obviously. That's like that right there is where we see the most consistency with people. Who's being consistent and who's continuing to grow, who's asking like good questions and educating themselves, and who's also like in amongst the community, who else is jumping in and helping out, who's and then we have the group threads for like all the different prop firms. And now reference to Phoenix, we had just recently started that lady unicorn group that we had mentioned in the previous the student stage that we did last 2 weeks ago. And we obviously have all of the things in the mentorship, and we have all of the all the people, Arrow, Chicken, Jimmy, everybody that you mentioned. There's
And these are all real
there's so much
people.
value, right?
These
Right,
are
yeah.
just real people.
It's
Like
hard to
I
put
know
into
we,
words sometimes without
yeah,
just like going on a list of things. Like it's
yeah,
hard because there's so
yeah.
much.
So yeah, like we were talking earlier, right? Um, Everybody's just a real person. Like there's no. I think originally when I first started getting into all this stuff, you go to YouTube and the first thing you see are like influencers, and these influencers have like 6 Lambos and a massive mansion and tons of bling, and that's not really relatable. But like I can't like relate the success they're having with my life because I don't have 6 Lambos. I don't know if I want 6 Lambos, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it makes like that's not relatable to me, but there's like real people in this group that are, maybe they have 6 Lambos, but they're not showing me that they have 6 Lambos, but they're relatable. You know what I mean? Like, no one is, gloating nobody is flexing really hard. I think by seeing a lot of that, like I keep going back to like the psychology and the mindset, but like if you keep seeing people flexing a lot, like, you know, big houses, big cars, these expensive watches, I'm going to speak for myself. I do not find it very just helpful, or like it just does not help me get to where I want to be, because we're all human. Like we all experience, some sort of jealousy, or that I always talk about the mind kind of telling you things, but like it's telling you the wrong things, right? Like you want that so bad, but it's like that person has it, and then you start questioning how they're getting it, and that can lead to a snowball of negativity. So I find in this group, everyone's just really cool. Like I have not seen anybody flexing anything, which I really like. And if anybody does flex anything, it's that they're successfully trading. Like I passed an account, or I got a payout. You know what I mean? And when I see stuff like that, like, oh, like I'm up for a $30,000 payout. Like if I see something like that, that's like motivation, because I can see how I don't want to say it's easy to get there, but logically and theoretically, it's easy to get there, right? Like we talk about the compounding of the accounts. But you gotta put the time in and prove to yourself and trust yourself and trust your system and your game plan first, before you even start to start firing off at one shot one kills and things like that. Because I think once you really put it together and prove to yourself that you can do it, that you're profitable month over month, then all that other stuff will happen very, very quickly for yourself. And you know, that's what's happening for me. And this is why I've really buckled down on what's working, and you know, just stop doing things that are not working for me, whether it's personally or as a trader, right? So Matt also talks about trading time for freedom, right? Like it's
That's
one
what I
thing.
was gonna say too. I want not to
Yeah,
cut you off, but I was waiting because I
yeah,
wanted to say that. It's like to touch on you talking with one about like people not gloating, and like it's not like a big, everybody's not, nobody's showing off their big fancy shiny objects or whatever. It's just when somebody does post something like, hey, I got my payout or whatever, like I got this, or I got that, I passed a challenge, this. It's always it's always this sense of like, I'm so happy that I just achieved this, and I want to share it with the group because I'm a part of the group, and I got to this point through this group, and I want to like show everybody that like I achieved this. And then every time somebody does that, not only does it come off as like a genuine, I want to share this with all of you because I'm so happy, there is so much love, right? Like amongst the community, everybody's super supportive. We're all always gassing each other up, like, awesome, great job, congratulations, because all we want to do is see people win. And
mhm,
also, now to what you were about to say, the thing that we're like, it's not a, it's so it'll kind of, I'm gonna have to do like a circle here. It starts at you talking about the Lambos and the whatever, all the flashy stuff, like all of the clout chasing on the internet and all that, and just like the marketing and the flexing. That like it's exactly what you said. That like your brain is seeing that and you're going, oh, like I want that. Whether it's jealousy or whether it's just like envy or whatever, it's like or just like motivation. It's like you want that. But at the end of the day, and this is something that we preach all the time, like that's not what we're going for. Yes, that could come if that's what you would like, you know what I mean? You could get a nice car, you could get the nice house, you can get the nice whatever you want, but at the end of the day, we're trying to just get money, or create wealth, I should be saying,
yep,
to for that freedom, right? For the freedom of time, because we don't want to be sitting at our computers 24 hours a day, unless you love doing that, but you got to switch it up every now
that's
and then.
me.
Yeah, I mean, me too, I'm guilty.
I'm addicted to charts. I'm not gonna deny it,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, but it's about supporting the family. It's about
Yeah.
like those are the real goals, right? It's like the real
Yeah.
goal is like yeah, if you can get a sick car, I mean that's just going to be like a cherry on top, and that's kind of why it's easy to flex those things on the internet, because that's just like a bonus thing. But like those guys, who all of the people that are doing this and like really achieving the reality, like the real goal,
Mhm.
they're achieving freedom. Like they're achieving having funds to take care of debt if they have debt, like anything. It's like it's extracting freedom from the market. You're trying to create wealth for yourself, for your family, for your future family. You're trying to get more time to spend with family, friends, like whoever it is. Like that's the real goal here. The goal isn't to go and get the big fancy shiny thing. That's just the easy marketing technique. What we always talk about, and Matt always talks about it as well. We're always talking about it. Health, family, friends. It goes back to what you're saying about him always repeating the same things in all of the lives and all of the videos and everything that he does. What's one of the other reoccurring things that we always talk about? Family, health,
Sure.
friends, like just getting away from the screen, going and enjoying life. Like that's the real goal, right?
Mhm.
Extracting time from the market, because time is the only thing that we cannot get back. So if we can extract wealth and then using that wealth create more freedom and free time for ourselves, that's it. That's like you're going to be happy, like you should always have more goals than just that. But at the end of the day, that's really what we're all after. We're all after having some sort of freedom, some type of freedom, whatever the level is for your own personal situation. And that's just
Yeah,
that's
God
that's
bless Matt, man.
it's
Like
one thing we don't do is we don't promote like the whole like flashy stuff, like whatever. It's not worth it. It's also like toxic. It creates that toxic environment, and that's why we try to keep it genuine in here.
yeah, God bless Matt, man, for showing a model to everybody. And I didn't think something like that was even possible because I came from a crypto world that's 24/7. So,
Crypto's
you
nuts.
know, like, you're gonna be like if you're trading that shit, like you're gonna have you're gonna be bald and have gray hair by the time, in less than 3 years. It's a big joke that's there. Like it's so
It
stressful. It
doesn't
can be
stop.
that stressful.
Yep.
There's no there's no time management piece there, right? Like that's why I love what I've kind of stumbled into here with this group because it's a New York kill zone that I choose to trade. And I love that I can just, if I wanted to, and I do talk to my wife about this, that, like I do have a full-time job, so I am always on my comp, but like if I wasn't at a full-time job, my trading hours would be literally from, you know, pre-market to max 12 o'clock. Because if your trade is successful and it happens well before 12, then your day is done. Like like today, my trading day was technically done before 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
And after I did my journaling and, you know, just look to see if anyone needed help in the group, right? Like I always go through those questions. People have questions. I try my best to help out. Um, like my trading is done like in a few hours, and securing today I secured 4R right of my risk,
Oh,
and
damn.
like
Nice.
that's like to me I'm very very pleased with that, and I do know how much work is put into that, but I also respect the time. Like you start to think about compounding accounts and making 4R a week. That's enough, man, to put food on the table and then some, right? Pay for
Yeah.
your house, or like do so much more with just 4R a week, right? If you're compounding, like and this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? With the secret sauce and the true mindset of not overexposing yourself to the market. Like you don't always have to trade, right? Especially if you've already captured some money. And I love that Matt preaches this all the time, but he's like, once you're green, it's your responsibility to stay green. Like
Yep.
I have that written on my wall. Like I always keep it on there because
Right on the wall too. Not even a
yeah,
piece of
yeah, yeah,
paper. Just
exactly. Yeah, it's like right in there, man. Because I need to be reminded, like I'm a human being just like anyone else that experiences a wide range of emotions from panic to FOMO to euphoria. Like I will, like my mind will tell me things that I don't think I should be doing. And that's why when I look to my left and I see my checklist and I see, that phrase I just said, like that immediately pulls me back to go, okay, dude, base hits, take it easy. And like, I always feel like I have, like when I have those thoughts of wanting to enter a trade, like in those cartoons where they have the devil and the angel kind of come up,
Yeah.
like it's like I got two mats there. That's like two mats telling
Two
me the same thing.
50-year-old men? Is that what
Yeah,
he's
yeah. No, not 50-year-old man. No, but just I got Matt basically. He's all like I have him always in my ear, even though he's not speaking to me, but he's always in my ear with that message, and that goes a long way, and that comes through his repetition of his message, and my ability to continue to just listen to it and really surrender to it, and like anyone who's kind of coming through, I highly recommend to really put the ego aside, put anything you may have learned aside, and just really focus on what he's saying because, like, he's changing a lot of lives. And there's a lot of other people too also helping to change a lot of lives. But like, I credit Matt for what he's doing because he is definitely changing a lot of lives, and he's not doing it in a way that's like gimmicky. Because I know there is that influencer part of running a business like this. But I'm really proud of the way he's doing things, yourself included, because I know you're in the mix, bro. But I'm just once again really, 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 really humbled and grateful to be a part of this group and to have met so many amazing people, man. And there's still some more amazing people coming through. Phoenix started the women's group, and there's so many people that are probably going to start to feel like they have a place to speak. And I joined that. I'm following that channel. I'm not gonna interfere with it per se, but like I'm observing because like I know that there's a lot of quality from individuals who may not have felt like they have a place to speak, right? Because this is a male-driven industry, and it's hard to tell too when you're on the internet, like who's a male or who's a female, right? Like I'm gonna bring up Phoenix again, but like I didn't know Phoenix was a female. I should have put two and two together, but I'm not judging based on pictures and things like that, right? Like those
Yeah,
stereotypes.
which I
I
said
don't
in
know.
this in the
Yeah, like
stage too.
right. I don't know. But the thing is, like, first off, it's okay. That's great. There's a female presence in our group. Um, it doesn't change the fact of whether that person is successful or not successful, though, right? When it comes to trading, because
Right.
that's the only thing I'm looking at is like, are you someone who's like working towards their goals? Are you someone who's trying to better themselves and help better the community you're in? Like to me, those are strong morals or ethics that I'm personally living by. So I love seeing that in other people. So starting a group like that, who knows who's coming up through there and what type of light will be shown in that group. I'm really excited to just see what's going on in there because I mean Phoenix came out of nowhere, right? And she's probably ripped because she
Yeah.
does 75 hard, right?
Guns a
Do it like
blazing, she
every
came in. I
day.
swear, seriously. And also, to your point, I see what she needs. She wants me to emphasize this. This isn't, the fellas are absolutely more than welcome to participate in the Unicorn Ladies chat. I need to emphasize this. Oh, and also, I need to also make sure I clarify. This is in the premium group too. I think that there was some confusion the last time we had spoke about it. It was very clear, but I do believe some people were slightly confused and maybe they missed the point, but this is something that's going on in the premium group, in our group threads that we have. But Phoenix is the group is for everybody. It's not male or female, but she's just trying. We're trying to create, like how you just had mentioned, just like a place for people, for if the ladies want to go and chat it up, then go for it, right? It's like there's
But
no,
I
we,
do
we
think
want
it's
to,
important.
yeah, we want more people to just speak. Like we're trying to create new ways to help people feel more comfortable. And like it doesn't matter if you're man, woman, whatever. Like it literally doesn't matter. We're just getting creative with it, seeing what works, what doesn't work. It's not about having the solution all at once. It's about trying new things and just with the mindset of trying to get more people to participate and just having people, share their thoughts and be active members in the community. Because, and I say this almost every single time we're doing the stage, it feels like there's a lot of people that don't participate, and that's totally fine, but I will always encourage people to participate. We love when people are in there, and we love seeing new faces. We love people asking questions. We love it all. There's that's what this is for. The entire server is specifically to communicate with others, and you mentioned it earlier. It's a lonely thing, right? So communicating is huge. Like expressing your thoughts and how you see things is going to, you have no idea who it's going to help. At the end of the day, you literally have no idea who it's going to help. And I can almost guarantee you that whoever's listening, if you're not already participating, I can almost guarantee you that if you start speaking up, you're going to help somebody else. You don't think about it, but it seriously is true, because I've had a handful of people, much more than a handful, a very large amount of people say, "Oh, this person did this and that helped me, and this person said this and this helped me, and this," and they're just, it's not like, oh, it's like all Ash. Like, yes, obviously Ash is helping everybody, but there are also, and how we mentioned before, there's just people that are helping each other in there, and that one thing that you might say, or a handful of things you say, could actually completely change the perspective of somebody that is in there that isn't speaking up, because they might be thinking the same thing, and then you say it, and then they go, "Oh wow, this person is thinking that same way that I'm thinking," and then that creates a conversation that may not have never happened unless you, the individual, spoke up and said something, whatever it is. So,
and, everyone's in a different place too, right? Like
absolutely,
everyone's in a different place in terms of their process or where they are as a trader in the journey. Like this to me is like a lifelong journey. I really feel like I'm at the beginning of it, because to me, it's just been like less than a year really for me trading, in this capacity. One thing I realized, like, you can't do it by yourself, and that touches on what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I think having that ladies group is one of a kind. I've not seen any other premiums do something like that, and I'm all for equality and for everybody having a place to be able to achieve goals, right? And
Yeah.
if this one group can help people to achieve their goals faster, like in an expedited way or accelerated way, like that's powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud to be part of a group that has something like that, to be honest with you, because like I said, I've seen other groups, and it unfortunately it does get quite negative and out of control in a sexist type of way. Like it's
Yeah.
rampant in our world. I'm not gonna be blind about it, but it doesn't mean I'm like that, or I have to participate with that type of a crowd. So it's really, really nice to see that here. The other thing I have to say, I'm sorry, I got to go back to something.
Go for it.
When I first joined this group, like I told you guys about, with Arrow and the threads, and we got Kim Vesco with his secret sauce, and like there's the WAP mentorship that is not talked about a lot at all. Really, I have not seen much conversation about this, but there is so much content in the mentorship. Like, I mean, it feels like there's over 100 hours worth of material in there, and it's not like different material, so it's not daunting, and to be like, oh my god, I got to learn all this other stuff.
Right.
It's like the same model, this somewhat the same message from video to video, but there's so much content on the WAP mentorship that if you're paying $100 a month, like, you're not even going to get through all that stuff in 1 month. Like honestly, unless like you're listening to it at 2x like me. Like I listen to everything at 2x. So
a lot of people do that too. Yeah, because they're
so
long.
like
I mean, it's a stream, so it's a very long
right.
video.
But there are some absolute gems, like inside that mentorship, like in those lectures. A lot of things clicked for me after countless amount of hours I spent watching and just like listening to what Matt had to say and the questions he's answering, because a lot of us have the same, like initially when we kind of joined, we have, we're learning about this process. We have the same questions. So like you're hearing a lot of the same questions sometimes getting answered. And I find it very comforting because, I've been through it enough to like, I've been to every call, and um, I'm at a point where I'm seeing the recycling of these kind of questions because there's a whole, bunch of new people coming through, which is great. But they're asking questions, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I do know some of the answers to that. And, that's a credit to the teacher, right? Like that I know the answer. And I know Matt always likes to test people very generally when we have our live chats or our live sessions or even the public ones. He always asks a question, right? But like to know the answer to that is like lets me know, and I'm sure with other people they probably know the answer too. But it's like it let us know that we're on the right path, like we're going the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once again, can't do it by yourself. I really don't think you can do this by yourself. Like even with crypto, like there's people I know outside of our group that are crypto related, but like it's very few and far between. But like even I've had conversations with them, and it's like you can't do trading by yourself. Like there's no way. Like you need some people around you, like-minded individuals. It doesn't have to be necessarily like a massive group, but like you still need some like-minded individuals around you to, bounce ideas off of, or to even like see things that maybe you might not see, right? Like Storm Trades is a big he's a big part of my trading experience with silver and CL, like spotting things that sometimes I actually don't see. Um, and that's a gift, man. That's like a secret gift. People don't even know, but like there's so much that is at your fingertips. But you kind of have to take a leap of faith, right? We all have to take that leap of faith. Otherwise, no risk, no reward, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just to reiterate about the mentorship that doesn't really get mentioned nearly enough, like you said, it is very true. I mean, I believe I even saw Ash in the chat say something. There are almost every stream with a handful. There's a select few that like there's something happened with the recording or whatever, and we weren't able to use it. But almost every live stream that he did in the premium group, which is twice a week minimally. It's always twice a week minimally. Every single one that he's done is recorded in there. So like there's so many hours. I mean, like you said, it's like literally hundreds probably at this point of hours of just him doing live streams. And there's like mentorship type videos that are they're go through different concepts of just trading, and there's a whole bunch of those. There's obviously the Unicorn University that we're developing as we speak, which is like a hand holding of like all the concepts in trading in general, and like starting, all the how to sign up for prop firm accounts and how to utilize different, types of, all the narratives. I mean, there are countless amounts of there's so many hours in there, and it's funny that you brought it up because I never think to bring it up, but yeah, it's true. I mean, there's an unbelievable amount of knowledge in there. It's like the YouTube obviously itself has so many hours from his streams that he's been doing as well, but the premium group, I mean, the live streams they're very different because it's obviously a smaller group, very like-minded individuals, and Matt is the way that he goes about the streams is exactly the same, but just there is something different about it because we are in like the premium group of the people that are like really locked in and really trying to be there. Um, so I'm glad that you brought that up. It is a huge asset to the subscription, for the
He's
premium
there
group
every day, 3 days a
every
week.
day.
Like, well, two private sessions, but like that racks up over time, man.
Yeah,
And like I'm actually like sometimes I'm impressed that these sessions, like he's there for the whole time, like literally the whole time. Like that is like really comforting
every day.
to someone who's new, that we do need our handheld, right? Like that is the hand holding process right there to help you become more confident in yourself or more comfortable with the system, and or like what to see. what you're looking for, or how to read that price action. Yeah, like that is maybe that is not that, or maybe that is an underrated thing to say because he's putting his own time into this thing. Like he's not someone like there's other groups I've been in where it's like the mentor is like complaining about trading, like that it's so stressful and it's almost like they don't like trading. Like I don't want to be on my computer every day. And to me, it's like that's not the kind of person I want to be working with or like learning from because they don't sound like they give a shit about trading. Like I'm obsessed with trading. Like I love trading. It's a passion for me. It's a passion for Matt. It's a passion for so many people in this group. That's the kind of stuff I want to be a part of.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like-minded individuals, same goal, and everyone trying to help, elevate each other. And like I said, just when you think things are at a plateau, like there's always something around the corner, right? Like Arrow, like I said, he keeps surprising me, and he's entering beast mode, man, with what he's doing, and it's inspiring to see because it helps me put two and two together what I can also achieve. Like I can think bigger, or I can go about achieving a specific goal in a different type of way. So
Yeah,
lots
absolutely,
of
man.
lots of lots of lots of value, and I'm not just trying to pump up the premium. I'm just trying to just share my own experience because people like a lot of the stuff I'm talking about, I didn't know about when I joined, right? Like I didn't know about any of this stuff. So I want to just kind of put it out there so people know what is actually available to them. And, you got to put in the time and the effort, of course. Like 90% is on you, but a big 10% is all in there to help you get to where you want to be. So,
I do appreciate you saying all that too, because it is hard to, it is hard to kind of talk about the premium group without it sounding like, we're shilling the premium group. It like, it's hard because we come from a place of like wanting to genuinely help people and create some like real value. Like you said, it's like it is on the individual, but there is so much, there are so many resources in the premium group that just like that are in them within themselves. They're like hidden gems. They're just things that you don't think about that like just are there for people to learn. Like one shot, one kill, obviously we brought up a number of times, just one of many things that are resources that just are a part of being in the premium group. um and I'm glad that I don't think that you are like pumping it up. I just think that you are being honest, and which is also why we are doing the student stages, because we want the people that are in it to sort of just share their experience genuinely. We want to bring on all walks of life. It doesn't matter like how long you've been training for, how consistent you are. If you well I mean consistency kind of matters. I mean, we want to see people who are active in the chat,
mhm.
but it doesn't matter if you have a payout or if you're like if you got prop firms or whatever. Like if we like what you're doing, like we want to have you share your experience with the public, because a lot of people in the public don't get to see what's going on in there. And that's the reason for all these, because there's so many people in that group doing incredible things, and a lot of people don't even realize they're doing incredible things. Like not that you don't think you're doing incredible things, but it's like yourself, or like Phoenix, or like any of these people that I bring on. When we contact you guys are usually like, oh wow, really? Like that'd be great, I would love to do that. But you're not thinking like, oh, I'm doing these incredible phenomenal things. But you guys are, like, you just don't realize it. It's not about having all of the money in the world and like you're collecting payout after payout after payout. It's just you guys are doing it. You're doing it, and you're consistent, and you're being independent thinkers, and you're providing value for others. And that's what it's all about, like genuinely. That's why we
Sure.
bring you guys on, because you guys are huge assets to the community. And to that, I want to say, um, I know for a fact all of us value you and all the information that you're putting in the group into the group. Thank you for coming on. I'm gonna start to wrap this up. I don't want to keep you too long. I know we got other things we got to get going. So is there before we go, is there anything else, any final words that you want to leave with the people? Anything you want to say to everybody who's listening?
Oh, well, first off, thank you once again for having me. And you're, just like you said, you asked other people and they're kind of surprised. Like I was really surprised when you guys asked me, to be honest with you, because um, I just, like I said, I feel like I'm standing next to some giants in there that I'm like expecting to hear them speak, not me. So big thank you to both of you. Honestly, like a lot of my life has really changed since I joined. And I'm not just saying that. I know other people's lives have been changed as well. I think Matt mentioned a while ago about, like what is your why, right? And I think that's a Simon Sinek book. But understanding what your why is, like why are you trading, right? Like what is it for? I feel like when you put an answer behind that, and then you start to trade, things start to become significantly clearer for you, right? Like I have a full-time job, I'm married, I got 2 kids. I said I'm 42. Like I got bills to pay, I got time management things I have to deal with. Like I can't obviously sit in front of a chart all day, but um, I know what my why is. And I feel like any other person who's been incredibly successful in this group knows what their why is, and they know what they're doing. And that is a huge, once again, a huge underrated thing. I don't think much light is shed on, because once again, it's not a sexy thing to talk about, right? Or to flex. But I think if we individually just put some time into ourselves that way, and then kind of come to the table with a bit of a different perspective or a more clear perspective, um, things will be much easier and better for you in a more positive way, because you're not going to be flying off the seat of your pants, right? You'll
Right.
be pretty grounded, and this group is very grounded. So once again, big thank you to both of you guys for having me on, and big thank you to everybody in the community for helping me when I first started, and chatted with me, answer questions for me, share charts with me, or accepted my charts and gave their opinion on them. I can only say thank you to everybody. So very, very grateful to be here.
Yeah, we're grateful to have you, man. Seriously. Um, can we get some hearts in the chat, some claps in the chat for our boy Kira for coming on here and helping us get through our bi-weekly student stage. Obviously, incredible amount of information. I love getting on and talking to you guys. I'm always a little nervous when I get on because it's just there's no real script to this. We just get on and we talk, right? Like that's at the end of the day, that's we try to keep it as real and as genuine as possible. But I always am very excited to get on with you guys. Thank you, man, for coming on. You're doing great. I mean, we talked about it for about roughly an hour and a half about how incredible your journey is, how you're now at this point where you're successful in your trading career. You're providing tons of great value for the community. And again, thank you for coming on. Seriously, very happy to have you. And yeah, do you have any special shout outs you want to give now that we're wrapping this up?
Special shout
Yeah,
outs.
yeah. I'm trying I'm trying
Okay.
new things. I'm trying to add to the
Yeah, yeah,
stage. I
that's
gotta add
cool,
new
man.
things.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people, but obviously, Matt, yourself, White Chocolate, Arrow, EMC, Jimmy, Convesco, Storm Trades, Phoenix, Exodus, Rishi, Trading Yogi. Sorry, got that wrong, but Luke Trades is there. It's a lot of people, man. I'm like I said, I'm just very grateful to be standing next to giants, man. So thanks again for having me on, man.
Of course. And thank you everybody for coming on. Like I said, this is going up on the YouTube. Maybe you're listening on the YouTube. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it over there. If you guys want to, for the people listening live, listen. We are going to be uploading this later today, so you guys can go review it over there. I just gotta make sure that everything is set, and then we'll get it over onto the YouTube for you guys to check out. And with that being said, that is our student stage for this week. We will be coming back in 2 weeks, unless something happens. But we are scheduled for 2 weeks from today. We will be doing another student stage. Let's see, that is going to be on the 18th of October. Same time, same place. I hope you guys really had a. I hope you guys took away a lot of what Kira said, because I mean there was so much value in things that he was providing for us today. So, like I said, definitely go check it out on YouTube once we get it up there. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of their day, has a great Friday, a great weekend. And you know, if you already got in your training session today, just go enjoy the rest of your day. You know, if you got to finish up work, hopefully it goes good for the rest of your day. Make sure you go spend time with family, friends, enjoy life outside of the charts, and we will see you guys next time. So everybody have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in a couple weeks for the next student stage.